Broadcasting live from downtown Las Vegas, you're tuned in to Gorilla Cross Radio.
Yay, everybody, it's Wednesday, Girlchatsports with Mo and Mel. How y'all doing? What's good? I had to do a little shimmy because my Lakers. And the people that don't know, they know what it is.
Well, it's the purple and gold. There's a lot of purple and gold going on right now. Got LSU with the big win over the weekend.
I had rep them
Monday.
too with purple and gold.
My Huskies, which aren't doing good, but
that's okay.
Welcome. What's up?
What's up? I mean,
it's been a little while.
It has. Just a tiny little while. I missed everybody out there, though.
West Coast Wednesdays.
West Coast Wednesday.
You are tuned into Girl Chat Sports. We got a good show for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the NFL playoffs. It's okay. I'm still all here. And we've got a big fight this weekend here in Las Vegas.
We do.
It's
like a comeback fight almost.
I know.
If you will.
Well, it's kind of a comeback to get back in it.
I guess. We'll see how the relevance
we got a great guest coming up later in a few minutes here. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that. He's actually a fellow Pacific Northwestian, I guess, ish.
I love his name too.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk with him, and we will also do some discussion of our Vegas sports here real quick. And then we also wanted to say that we are excited for the WNBA's news, the new CBA agreement, and what that means for the players, the association, for women in sports in general. But we're going to actually be addressing that next week. So we're going to have a special guest in studio, as well as someone to call in and kind of give us the lowdown on what that all means. Yeah.
Sounds good to me. we also are going to talk about the recent things of Vegas, as you say, and just in sports general, with a lot of firings, huh? It seems to be a trending
firings
thing.
and hirings
Locally, because even Las Vegas Raiders, we had a firing. So we'll talk about that after we talk about the other.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it.
Yeah. So everybody woke up early this morning. I actually got up kind of early. Y'all was shocked that I was even up. It was like 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning.
The group chat was off.
The group chat was off the chain. But if you guys didn't know, sadly, Las Vegas Knights, we've only had 3 seasons, but within that 3 seasons,
we're in the midst of our third.
Yeah, in the midst of our third. So it's not even a full third season. So we'll say 2.5 as we get close to playoff time. But anyway, the head coach and one of the assistant coaches, sadly and unfortunately, got let go today. They say it's never the owner's doing of this; it's the GM, and the GM spoke live because we checked in live watching the press conference, and he was stating that it was something that was in the works for weeks. And that this was not an abrupt thing, and it was something that he and him alone with other members of the organization came to a decision that they just need to turn the tide, I should say. Not tide the turn, but turn the tide. But yeah, so a lot of people were very, very upset. I mean, the immediate reaction was the shock. It was almost like a stages of grieving a death. You got the shock, the anger, sadness, like it just rolled into, and then you try to rationalize at the end, and then the last step and final step, a lot of people posted kind of the realization and that it sort of makes sense. I mean,
minus the fact that it's the Sharks head.
Yeah, I was about to get into that, and then I got this. Yeah, so that kind of went into it. But the thing of it is was this a necessary move? Because the way I see it is, we went to the Stanley Cup Finals, right? Mm-hmm. And then the following season, last season, we get to second round of playoffs against the Sharks and lose. But we get to the second round of the playoffs, so no Stanley Cup Finals appearance again. And then even in this season, there were a lot of things that were kind of lagging through the whole team. And I think as fans, we look at the players, but we never look at the analytics of coaching. Sure. And we don't look at, this is the same squad that was part of going to that Stanley Cup Finals, so why are we not playing up to that level? Regardless of, and we know personal things happen with Fleury, so that kind of set him back a little bit mentally. But even some of the other trades and different things that happened within the team, some were leaves of that. It just was a lot of factors into that. And I just feel like, I mean, do we just blame the players primarily, or we go after the coach? And I think in this kind of situation, you got to go after the coach, because it's kind of like a woman. If I see a shiny diamond ring, if a guy proposes to me with a 5-carat solitaire, I'm just giving you guys a heads up what I like. Diamond.
What cut?
It's solitaire cut, so it's stone. You don't have to cut into it. Anything that's cut, I don't want. I want the rock. So either that or emerald cut. I'll take those. But anyway, it's like getting to that, and then your anniversaries are coming up, and the gifts seem to kind of slow to not being as outrageous as the ring, if that makes any sense.
Gotcha.
Like you start off really big, but then you kind of, and we have this high expectation, and then it just trickles down to like stagnant. And I think the players even seemed a little complacent. They're taking on different hobbies. I'm hearing more about Ryan Reeves' brew pub than I am about his stats.
Dang.
Like, that's a problem. The public events and all. So where are we? Are we going to be that same team that gets back to the Stanley Cup Finals? Because I'm low-key almost forgetting that we even went there.
And it's tough because we just lost 4 straight, too.
And that, too.
And we're in the middle of a road series. So we're on the road, and your coach gets fired. So what does that mean? So that means Gallant's, like, flying back while our new coach is... I've already called him Peter Parker. I don't know why. I just feel like... But here's the deal. As the new coach, he's got a lot of great experience. He's got a winning record. Okay. He's coached for 3 decent teams.
He sent 2 of those teams to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Right. And for the Sharks, his last 5 seasons, they've been in the playoffs every year. How can you be mad at that?
No. You really can't be. And I think it's always the shake up to wake up. This is
and I think
call.
The guys are kind of getting a little shook up too. It sounded like, yeah.
Well, guys were upset. I mean, and that's probably what they needed. Like I said, there's complacency. You know how you get comfortable at something, you just ride the wave. You still have your fandom. People are still showing up, so you really don't need to wow them. You just need to do good. Right. But guess what? I'm a person that likes to be wowed. If I'm wowed the first time, don't half step me the next few years.
Wow her on the finger.
What? Man, wow me. That's why I don't have anybody now. Too much wow. Too much wow. But anyway, I just say that I think we all got comfortable with the team. We got acclimated with knowing the players. We started taking it very personal. Like, how dare, and the thing of it is with sports, any other sport, we would be talking about the coaching too. When we talk about football, we mention the players and the coach. We hold them accountable. Not one time have we ever talked about Gerard. Not once did we ever mention, what about the coaching? What about the coaching staff?
And that's interesting.
No one has.
Any other sport you do.
Every other sport you do. So I think this is.
Do you think it's because our fan base is kind of new, and so they're not sure as to how? I mean, anybody else in any other sport that's been around for a while, like you instantly going, "What is the coaching?" I mean, like our defense messed up for Seattle this weekend. They want to get rid of the defensive coordinator.
Right.
I'm like, well, I mean, come on, it's
right.
They were struggling. They were injured half the season. Like, how can you say it's just his fault?
Right. Exactly.
So,
and it could have been that because, like I said, we're shocked because we just thought, we have this team. We're good. We're doing okay.
And some of the group chats.
Oh, some people want to sign petitions. Some people
there's going to be a GoFundMe pretty soon.
Right.
I mean, I don't. It's pretty intense out there.
It is intense,
and I think it is because some of our fans are fairly new. Some of them, and I've looked into a couple of group chats, and there were some non-sports fans that just like hockey or just like the Vegas Golden Knights because they're the first team here.
Right.
And they're like, "Was this usual? Does this happen a lot?" And it's like, yeah, it kind of does. It kind of does. Shout out to Girl Across Radio.
And shout out to Quan because he said every game he felt was like watching a rerun. And I get that. That's what I'm saying. It's like, are we on the... It just seemed like...
And it was like this roller coaster.
Day,
like, win 3, lose 4, win 2, lose 1. It was...
Yeah, and we should not be that way. No way. That's no excuse. We should keep advancing better. We should have gone to Stanley Cup Finals, honestly, last season. But again, we had injuries and a lot of different factors. But yeah, it's just a very ho-hum type thing.
Ho-hum.
Yeah. And so speaking of firings as well, I'll just get into it real quick with our Las Vegas Raiders, formerly Oakland Raiders. And if you guys saw him on Hard Knocks, I watched him quite a bit. I liked him. I was a fan. It was our defensive DL coach. He defensive lineman coach just recently got let go. A lot of people are not too happy with that, and I get it because I was one of those people that wasn't too happy about it because our defense has increased significantly from having this guy on the team. And the other knife that twists to make it worse is we got the defensive lineman's coach from the Cowboys that got fired with Jason Garrett. That's who we acquired. That's who we got. In place of that, I am so incensed right now.
Maybe it'll go better for you. Or for
I don't
us,
know.
or for Las Vegas.
I don't know. But Bernstein Bruckner was that guy. You know what I mean? And you could see him. He was like the big buff dude. He'd yelling at the boys and telling on Hard Knocks and stuff. And so, I mean, we went from 13 sacks to 32 sacks this season in a year because of him. Like, so we get rid of him and we get the guy that was fired alongside with Jason Garrett. What does this mean, Raider Nation? I don't understand. Anybody want to call in real quick? 702-608-3259. That's the number. But yeah, that happened. So we were kind of upset. But on a lighter side for our Las Vegas Raiders, I don't know if you read, Josh Jacobs also got the Professional Football Writers of America's NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year award. Now, this is not the NFL Rookie of the Year, but this is won by the PFWA. So he was the 24th player picked in our draft, which still first round, but but he ran for 1,150 yards, okay, and 7 touchdowns and 242 carries within his breakout rookie season.
Okay.
I hope we don't get rid of this guy, guys. We really need him. We really do. But looking with the upcoming draft and stuff, which will be here in Vegas.
Yes, it will. April.
Raiders
couch
have
is
their
still for rent.
Yes, couch is still for rent. Raiders have opportunities to get more offensive linemen through this draft. From the rumors are saying they're not drafting for a quarterback, but you just never know.
Okay.
So that's my Raiders news.
Whew,
Get it together,
man,
and that's my VGK. Man, that VGK thing did hurt a little bit. It stung.
Everybody woke up like, did I wake up? I mean, I got a text. Shout out to John Weeks. My boy Weeks downstairs. Like, I woke up to a text by Gallant, and I'm like, I hit a question mark. Like, what are you talking about? And then half hour later, boom, all the news hits, and I was like, oh wow,
right.
Dang.
And shout out to Kareem from Unnamed Sports Show, because he posted an op-ed about everything with Gallant too. Nice article for Vegas residents, just citing like why our blinders are on and what we've missed in this big picture of things. But shout out to him. It was a very interesting article. So
what about the Lights? The Lights had their tryouts.
Open tryouts.
Yep, it was nice.
Yes,
good turnout.
Mm-hmm, very good turnout.
And they got a local boy.
Yeah.
I
don't remember his name. Do you?
Eric. I wrote it down somewhere. Eric Sanchez. So he went to Centennial High School. He graduated in 2014. Moved away for a little bit. Came back for these tryouts. Mm-hmm. And Winalda, and there was a video. Shout out to the Lights. They had posted a video of Winalda announcing him in front of all the people that had come to try out. And he was like, "This guy showed out. I think I pushed him, and I think it worked." And so he basically got the invite to come practice during the preseason.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And shout out to Angel Alvarez, too, because he just re-signed.
Good.
So he's back with us, another Vegas guy. So, hey, we're going to be looking good for the Lights this season.
And get them tickets, man.
Right,
they still got the holiday pack or whatever it is to get them the beanie and the scarf. So get out there, check it out. They also announced a school goals program. So instead of like reading for your goals, you can do like anything for school that, can help you get free tickets for the games too. So that's nice. Like I said, we're gonna talk more about WNBA next week, but I'm excited for our girls, Kayla, Kelsey, and Asia. They're out there practicing. Team USA has a game on the 27th and also the 2nd, so that'll be nice. Yeah, I can't. Oh, man, I'm excited. I'm excited that the shift of sports is coming along. Right, all that good stuff. I know. So you guys, we got a great guest today. Yes. He actually, I had kind of like social media friended him through my brother, because he actually is from Seattle. He went to school not too far from us at King's High School. Got to go to college in Chicago and play football. Was a high school football coach down in LA at Bernstein High School. Right. They were premiered on the East. You guys, I'm an E60. I'm a 30 for 30 girl. I love it. So I saw this episode. It was back in like 2014. They did it, and it basically was about how he got the parents of predominantly single parent, kids to write a letter about why they love their child or that they acknowledge them, that they want to show them support. And it basically turned these kids around. Yeah. Just having that one little piece of paper. And where he got the concept from and all of that. Yeah, and it was actually a good look. Yeah. You got him? All right. Masaki. Hello?
Hey, Mo. How are you?
Hey, good. What's up? How are you?
Hi, Masaki.
I'm good.
Should we call you Coach
Mo,
Matt?
How
are you?
I'm good. Yeah. I mean, that's probably the easiest.
Coach
Matt.
Yeah.
I'm kind of known by, I guess,
I
by
like
my kids.
Matsumoto though. I like saying it.
Matsumoto.
Yeah, Matsumoto. Shout out.
Yeah. So
Yeah, thank you.
no, thank you for coming on. I know my brother's always like sharing some of your stories, and I've always enjoyed watching some of your posts. Of course, watching the E60. Like I rewatched it because I wanted to know what that the one kid they really focused on it. Because I was like, what was his name again? So I watched it again, and of course, last night I was crying watching it.
Oh,
I'm
I
such
know
a
it's a
sucker.
touching
I'm
thing.
such a sucker for these things. But anyways, Coach Matt, why don't you give us a little rundown of basically, you came from Japan with your mom, who was a single parent, at the age of 7, I think. How did you get involved with football? Or I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you come from a country who really doesn't play football or watch it. Because I was there recently, and there's no American football on TV because of the time difference. So how did you come into the States and choose football or choose sports, and how did that work for you? And tell us kind of what progressed you to get into the coaching.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's really an honor. To be honest with you, I didn't know anything about football when I arrived when I arrived here, and the story that I always tell, and I almost vaguely don't remember it because I was so young, but the people that were involved kind of tell me all the time, and we always talk about it when we get together. But the family was babysitting me because my mom was going to school, and I was around 6 or 7 at that age, and so it happened pretty quick after I arrived here. And their son played football at Kings, and they had like a game film of his playing days, and I guess I was in the living room, and I don't know, I think they had to maybe they were doing yard work or something, so they just popped that video on, and at that point, I could barely speak English, and I guess the father of the family, he said that I just kept saying football, and I was glued to the I was glued to the TV, and I guess I watched the whole game, and I guess I think that was my first experience, and then I just started watching it, and I just started falling in love with it. My mom didn't let me play though until I got to middle school, just because injuries and all that stuff. She was being a protective mom. And then when I started playing, again, I just fell in love with it, and I kept playing throughout college, and then when I would get to grad school, right after college, I started coaching because classes are at night, and so I had some time, and my friend at church asked me if I wanted to coach at the school she worked at. She was an athletic trainer there, and I didn't know for sure if I wanted to ever coach, but I just kind of fell in love with it right away. And I coached there for 2 years as I was going to grad school. And then when I finished grad school, I needed to get a full-time teaching job at that point, and there was nothing in San Diego. That's where I went to grad school. And so I was like, okay, well, I still love California, and so I'm going to apply somewhere in LA. And Bernstein High School, which was opening that year as a brand new high school, had openings. And I was like, you know what, it's a brand new school. I think I could probably coach there. They probably need coaches. And so I applied, and I got a teaching job as a special ed teacher in 2008 there. And then I became the head track coach, but they already had a football coach. And so I became an assistant. And so, again, that was 2008. And then that was my first time, full-time teaching and coaching. And our team, though, we weren't very good from 2008 to 2012 under the other coach. We went 4-36. And it was not, obviously not a great experience. Learned a lot about what not to do. But anyways, in 2012, the principal came up to me and said, hey, we're going to let the head coach go. I love what you're doing with the track program. Do you want to take over the football program? And I just kind of prayed about it, talked to some of my friends and mentors, and because I knew it was going to be a difficult job, and I knew I was going to have to be all in, but one of my mentors told me, hey, like, no matter what, wherever you're at, inner city or private school, kids just want to be loved, and that really just hit me. And I said, you know what, these kids deserve that, and I know I could provide that for them. I mean, I'm not going to be perfect at it, but, that's when I decided I'm going to take that job over. And then, so in 2012, I took over the Bernstein program. And first year, we turned it around pretty quick. We went 8-3. And the next 3 years, we, made it to the semis 2 years in a row and, kind of established the program. But then 2015, I started thinking about my mom as she was getting older. She would come down to LA for a couple games, but I was like, how long can she do that for? And I started missing Seattle just in general. And so in January of 2015, my high school coach, who's still there at Kings, he emailed me an article about John Kitna leaving Lincoln because he took over that program after he retired from the Seahawks, and he kind of turned that program around and put some money into it. And he said, and my coach said, hey, it's still an inner city school. You'd be great there. And so that night I sent an email to the principal at Lincoln, and we did a Skype interview a few weeks later. And spring of 2015, I got the job, and I came up, and I've been at Lincoln ever since.
Wow.
Nice.
Gosh. So going back to the Bernstein school, how hard was it to go from being a player and not having played for a while and then doing school and teaching to getting into that head coaching role and to then basically, I guess, owning this and figuring out how to communicate with these kids? Did you think that your education background helped in that? Do you think that you having been a player helped in that? Or do you think it was some of your mentors or other coaches that helped you? And also, where did that idea come from?
Okay, so just to back up a little bit, I did coach, when I was in grad school. That's when I started, and I started at a really good private school. It's kind of it's the name is Cathedral Catholic High School, and it's kind of like a big powerhouse in San Diego. And so I was really fortunate to learn under that staff, for a couple of years, and it was a great place to start my coaching career. And so I learned a lot from them. And then obviously some of the mentors I've had, my head football coach in college and my head football coach in high school, they really used football as a vehicle to help young men. And that philosophy of using football not to win games but to actually help kids, that just kind of was pierced into my heart as I was playing for them, and I knew that's what I wanted to do as a coach, and so that helped me. And then lastly, I did a podcast like a year ago, and I told them this story because they're like, man, you went to a private school and you started coaching at a private school. How did you become successful at an inner city school in LA? And I told them because I was naive. Like, as growing up at Kings, like all of us graduated, there's you just don't hear about a kid like failing a class or dropping out or not graduating. And so that's all I knew. And so, when I got to Bernstein and I would see kids getting Fs or ditching a class or saying like, Coach, I may not graduate, like that was just so foreign to me that, I was like, no, that's not true. That's not going to happen. And I almost like, obviously you can't control kids, but I almost like help them will themselves to, have a higher standard and to do the things that they thought they couldn't do, and to let them know that, no, ditching a class isn't okay. Being late isn't okay. Not graduating definitely isn't okay. And so I just kind of stuck to my guns because that's all I knew. And, ironically, a private school kid was able to make a difference in inner city kids' lives because of that, just kind of being naive.
No, that's
if
great.
that makes sense.
So you having that experience,
yeah.
Coach Matt, and then coming up to Seattle to Bernstein, with totally different culture.
Lincoln.
Or I'm sorry, Lincoln. Coming from Bernstein, going up to Lincoln.
Well, we need the Letterman story first.
Oh, I was just going to ask him how the students differ.
I'm like,
Yeah.
we need the Letterman story, like how the letters get involved.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So when I first became a head coach in 2012, I made a commitment to myself, and I told myself in the off season I'm going to visit 3 successful coaches like every off season. As long as I am a head coach, that's my goal. And 8 years later, I've been able to do that, and that's part of the reason why we've been so successful, because I've been able to steal so many great ideas from great coaches. But the first coach I visited in my off season, after being, a head coach for 1 season, was Tom Boehner. He's at Bothell High School in North Seattle. And I had heard so many great things about him because he was at Shorewood before Bothell.
Hey.
And all of my...
That's my alumni.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And he had kind of turned that program before leaving the Bothell, and all of my good friends, went to Shorewood. I was a private school kid, but if I would have went to a public school, I would have went to Shorewood. And they had nothing but great things to say about him. And so I was like, okay, this is going to be the first guy I visit and go pick his brain. And so I just emailed him and I said, hey, I'm going to be in Seattle for Christmas break. Can I come see you? And he was great. And, we sat for like 5 hours on a Saturday morning, and he just gave me like whatever I asked for. And one of the things that he told me about was the letters, and that he does with his program. And I just thought it was such an amazing thing. And, and on my drive home from Bothell, I just thought about how, okay, well, Bothell is a pretty affluent area, and it's been a powerful thing there. Imagine how much more maybe it might mean to our kids who really, have a crappy home life and who maybe lives with a single mom. Most of them do live with a single parent, and some of them live with an aunt or a grandma, or they don't even have parents. And so, and then I started thinking about how our kids do struggle with drugs, or, and they want to join gangs, and they feel like they can't achieve things. And I believed in my whole heart, in my heart, that I think it's because they don't feel valued, and who do they want that like validation from the most? Parents, of course, and so I said, okay, I'm doing this. And so, it was actually, so I got that idea in December, and then, we went through the off season starting in January, and then in the summer, I typed up the letter, and I had a Spanish teacher at Bernstein type it in Spanish. And so we had, English and Spanish version, and we sealed it up in an envelope with a blank piece of paper that they could write on, and gave it to all our players and said, hey, we have a homework assignment. Give this to your parents and then bring it back by, we gave them like 2 weeks. And we said, hey, please, don't look at it though. All right. Have them seal it back up and then bring it to us. And they brought it back to us, all of them, which was great. And about a week later, after like one of the summer workouts, we said, hey, we're not going to go practice today. We're going to go straight to the gym, and we're going to give the envelopes back to you that you brought back to us a couple of weeks ago. And you're going to find a quiet spot in the gym somewhere by yourself, and you're going to read the letters. And you're going to have 15 minutes, and then we'll, bring you guys back together. And it was incredible. I mean, I just kind of walked around as they, started opening the letters and reading it, and, kids started crying right away or sobbing. And it was just, I think the letters hit a lot of them. And then after the 15 minutes, I brought the whole team back on the bleachers, and I just told them, hey, if you felt like you don't matter, if you felt like that no one has your back or loves you, here's the written proof that at least someone does, and it's and it's coming from your parent. And so this should give you the strength, the perseverance, when you don't feel like doing something or when you feel like giving up, to keep going. And also you need to know that you're loved here too. You have a family here. And so we basically, again, coming back to the no excuse, you have no excuse not to succeed, in on this team or in life. And it was crazy. And I think, one of your questions referred to this, but after I shared that, I asked each kid, if they wanted to come up and share what was on their heart, after. It could be about the letter, or it could just be whatever they're feeling. And one by one, kids came up and just, shared their story. And one kid said, every day when my mom would go to work, I would sit on the front porch and wait for her because I wanted to make sure she came home because my dad never did, when you hear stuff like that, it's just so powerful. And, that just brought the whole, the team together. And I always say, you can't truly care about someone unless you know their pain, and these kids shared their pain, and it brought the team closer together. And that's when we made our, semifinal run. And, it made a huge impact in their lives. And, we would have back to school night where, parents would come talk to, to teachers and stuff. I would have football players' parents. I don't even have them in class, they would come say thank you to me and tell me, hey, it's brought my son and I closer together. And it just made a huge impact on them. So it was a blessing for me to be a part of it.
Well, and I think one of the things that's important too is that a lot of these single parent households, they're having to work full time just to even make ends meet. So they're probably not even around half the time to be able to acknowledge or share that kind of love or support for their child. At the same time, they may have also came from homes that weren't sharing that love and support. So they didn't, some parents that are young, having kids young and having to be on their own young, don't realize what they need to also be providing to their child, other than a house and a home or someplace to live. So I think that was great to kind of cut that cycle a little bit so that these kids realize how important that is. They get it from that parent, and they can hopefully, share that with their children too.
But I also like the part too with Coach Matt saying that they all know each other's pain. And I think when you do know someone's pain and you guys they have a way of feeling uplifted or being motivated to succeed, they won't let each other fall. It almost came to a brotherhood. So big ups to that, because
exactly,
it's a good motivation piece.
And
I'm not gonna let you fall because I'm not gonna fall. You know what I mean?
And they all saw each other at their weakest points.
Yeah, at their weakest
they
points.
all broke down together, and so now all they can do is build each other up.
Yeah, build each
God,
other up.
I love this story.
Yeah, it's a great story. It really is.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
So how is it? And you can probably cut to it briefly, but how is it that I guess the story got out? What happened to get all of a sudden now you've got a film crew on you and they're recording you, and they're also recording in one of your hardest moments when you're having to leave that team.
Yeah. It was, so we had gone to, so the second year we had made it to the semifinals, and then we were preparing for our third season. And during that summer, Eric Sondheimer, he covers high school sports for LA Times. And he's a legend, and he's been doing it forever. And I still keep in contact with him because he really changed my, career in a way. But he called me during that summer and said, hey, I know you're getting ready for your third season, but how did you guys turn around the team so quick? Because you guys were god awful. You guys were god awful from
tips,
2008 to 2000. Yeah, exactly. He just wanted to know, and I think he was expecting we got some transfers, or we run these great schemes and great X's and O's. And I didn't say any of that. I just said we got our kids to care about each other, and our kids play for each other. And when you have a great culture like that, it's hard to stop us. And that's what I basically told him. And he was like, well, what are some things that you're doing? And I listed off some things, and then I mentioned the letter that we did the previous summer, and he was just kind of in awe. And he's like, okay, I got to do a story on this. And so he, came and interviewed some of our players. He asked for some of the letters. He read them. And then he wrote a freaking front page article on LA Times. And then so that blew up. And then a couple months later, ESPN called me and said, "Hey, my name is Mike. I work for E60, and we want to do a story about the letters that you did." And then they're like, "So my third and final season, right? They followed." They followed our season and filmed their practices and some meetings and the games and obviously me telling them in March that I was leaving. And
did you start the season knowing that that'd be your last season, or did you kind of come to that conclusion through the season?
No, I think at the beginning of the season, I had started thinking about possibly, moving up. But I did not know until, because I thought I was going to stay. I told you when my coach emailed me that article about Kitna in January 2015, right after we finished our third season, I thought I was pretty much going to stay because there wasn't really any jobs that I really liked up here. And, we had built something special at Bernstein, so it's not like I was going to come take some crappy job just to come up here, it had to be the right fit. And so that's why my coach sent me the article about Lincoln, because Lincoln was getting turned around by Kitna, and he had put some money into the program, and he had turned it around a little bit, and it was still a inner city school, which I wanted to still be at. And so that's when I got that information. That's when I was like, okay, I think I could leave here.
I mean, this is my first time ever speaking to like a high school football coach and then someone that's been on E60. Like this is crazy to me. Like
every
right now.
time the story chokes me up every
just
time.
So amazing and incredible. So my question is now, for any of the former high school students that went to Bernstein, do you still keep in touch with them? Is there any success stories that you can relate to them attributing you as a part of their growth and success? Have you spoken to anyone?
Yeah, so I a couple years after I left, Scrappy, the main character, okay. He wrote me a awesome letter and just kind of giving me an update, and and I guess so now he's a competitive boxer, and I guess he's really. I mean, I follow him on Instagram, and he's really killing it, and once in a while he'll message me and say, "Hey, coach, I'm successful at boxing because of the things that you taught me." And so I still keep in touch with a lot of the football players and track, the track runners, and even some students that I had in class that I didn't coach. But I would say, ladies, like the best part of what I do is when I get that text message or email or message on Instagram saying like, "Hey, coach, I thought you were crazy when I was in high school, but now I get it.
It all makes sense. Yeah.
I'm 25. I have a kid, or I have a job, and everything you taught me or was preaching to me, it makes sense now, and I know why you did what you did." And we've had some successful seasons, and we just made it to the semis at Lincoln, and none of that compares to those messages that I get from my former players. And so it really is a blessing, and I always feel like I get them when I feel like, oh man, do I want to keep doing this? And so like God really knows like when to give me those messages, because
exactly.
Those messages keep me going. And I said, okay, well, I don't make a lot of money coaching, but like I got to keep doing this for the kids.
How would you like to end your career though? How would you what position do you feel like you would be in, or where do you foresee yourself going?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It wasn't
because-
on our question sheet.
It
Yeah, it's
wasn't. I'm
good.
sorry.
No, it's
I
good.
mean, I only think in the moment.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I
no.
hear the conversation. I just think these.
We're
Okay,
off the rim.
go ahead.
Yeah, throwing a curveball
Sorry,
here.
I'm so
No,
sorry.
just joking. No, that's all right. No, that's a good question. Because people ask me about maybe college or, oh, now you want to go to like a more established powerhouse high school, maybe private school. And I to be honest with you, I don't know where I'm going to end up, because God, whenever you think you have a plan, like he kind of laughs and says, no, you're doing this.
Yeah,
right.
right. Absolutely.
Always. But this is what I tell people. As long as I can do it, like physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to stay at a school like Lincoln, because I know I'm making a bigger impact at a school like here than maybe let's say a private school. Obviously all kids need help and all kids need mentors, but I just feel like I can make a bigger impact with kids who are coming from a single parent home, or kids who do doubt themselves more than others, and so that's what I would like to do. But at the same time, it's like that. It's really draining, to be at a school like that and to pour yourself into these kids so much who do need a lot, and so it's like when there comes a time where I feel like I can't give to them what they need, or I'm hurting myself personally, or I don't have the support or the structure to support what I want to do, then, maybe it is time to leave. But as long as I can keep doing it, I'd love to stay at a place like Lincoln.
Well, and let's not downplay.
Oh, no, because I was going to say,
Lincoln, because you guys have two high school All-Americans on the squad right now, which, I mean, that's, and there's only 5, I think, that came out of Washington State, period. So that's really impressive.
Doing your homework. All right.
Yeah. I like to do a little research every now and then.
And can I tell
great.
you, Coach Matt, I knew that was going to be your answer. I knew that's what you were going to say, because any teacher or anyone that's in a kid's life from outside of their home is always going to speak passionately about what they do and what they love to do. And I feel like that's teachers. That's what they do. The ones that really are engrossed with it and can familiarize themselves with the kids and have relationships with, they care and they love it and they stay. Yeah. So I knew you were going to say that.
Well, I know that,
I got you.
Also, I think, your passion with it and your spirituality is probably tied a lot into what you do and probably how you can be successful at it. One of the things that I loved about, I went on the webpage for Liberty High School, is you have your core covenants. Love, ownership, accountability, and discipline. Love, you can depend on me. Ownership, it's my life, so it's my responsibility. Accountability, hold myself and each other to high standards. And discipline, the future is more important than how I feel right now. I mean,
that's deep.
Yep.
And I noticed that you guys, I didn't understand quite, but it sounds like as long as some of the kids could memorize this or implement this, as long as with a few other things that you guys do in your program, they are kind of like not special, but they're like the special. I don't know. What did you have? They call Liberty.
Champions Club.
The Champions Club. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Champions Club. Yeah. Yeah. So Champions Club is an incentive you get to be in this club, and it's an off-season incentive. So it really is a way to get these kids to come to our morning workout, because we go. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but we go at 5:45 a.m. from January to June, Monday through Thursday.
Well, we all know I'm not coaching nothing.
And the reason, exactly. So and trust me, every year it gets harder and harder for me to do. But we do it because before school they don't have anything else going on, so you have no excuse not to be there, right? Because after school there's tutoring, after school there's other sports that they may be involved in. So in the morning is where we can get everyone there, and we start building our culture in January. Because if you try to do it in August, it's too late. That's my belief. And number two, at Lincoln, we need to have something like that so kids can get to first period and kids can get to school, period. And so, if they're already at the morning workouts, they have no excuse not to be on time to first period and to be there, period. And so if they make 51 out of 62 morning workouts from January to June, they get to be in the Champions Club. But the other two criteria is that they can't have any D's or F's on their report card. And lastly, they have to recite our vision statement, core covenants, and core values. Nice. And so the four you listed is our core covenants. And that's really like our base, our foundation, and the cornerstone being love, because if you don't love each other or yourself, you're probably not going to do the other three behind it anyways. And so, we always say love is the cornerstone of our program. And we teach these kids that, hey, love is not a feeling. It's not some sort of emotion. It is a verb, and it is saying that, hey, no matter what, if I love you, you can depend on me. So when I don't feel like showing up, I'm gonna show up. If I don't feel like studying, I'm a study because I don't want to let you down. And so, our core covenants is a huge staple in our program.
That's good. So before we let you go, Coach Matt, we love that. I still can't get over the story, period. But what is something that you can say to any of our listeners or watchers who are parents of athletes? What can they do to help support their child through the process?
Without giving you like a long, drawn out plan or boring you, I would just say, love them and hold them accountable. I think you have to have both, because if you just love them and you just, I always say, if you just have love in your program, or if you just have love, like, you're going to sing Kumbaya and all that, but you're not going to become you're not going to become a productive citizen, and you're not going to be a good program or a good company, But if you have just accountability, then that leads to burnout and kids, feeling resentment and getting angry, And so I think you have to have both, and kids need to understand that you hold them accountable because you love them, and so I think parents, coaches, teachers, just anyone working with kids, really in any relationship, I think you got to have a balance of love and accountability, and I think and hold them to high standards, and I think if you have both of those, I think you give the kids a greater chance of being successful.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. That's it. Sounds like there it is.
Oh, man.
Coach Matt, it is such an honor, and I really, we both really appreciate you coming on the show. Our audience has been...
It's an honor to be on. Thank you.
Our audience, shout out to them. They've been commenting on the chat and just amazed by the wonderful stories that you had to share, the advice that was given, and then how we feel after the conversation. Because, I feel like...
Enlightened
and just... full of the spirit even more.
Right.
It's full of the spirit even more. So,
so please come back next time you're in Vegas.
Yes, please do.
Because me and Mo are going to Boiling Crab tonight. So I'll send you a screenshot.
Yes.
And
yes, please.
Coach Matt, what's your IG for those that would
Twitter.
love to, and Twitter that would love to follow you?
Twitter handle is Coach Matsumoto, and IG handle is Matsumoto20.
Okay.
And it's 20 because my favorite player was Barry Sanders.
Oh, Barry!
Yes.
Oh, let's get into the seat. We need you back on so we can get more into that.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much, Coach Matt. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach Matt.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Man, I don't know about you.
Don't y'all feel good?
I feel really good. Like this... It was a really, really feel good.
I kid you not.
Moment.
I cry every time in that E60. I cry during a lot of E60s. However, that one, because he broke down too when he had to leave.
Yeah, right.
I couldn't handle it. And you know what really made me want to get Coach Matt on is because I've been binging All American lately, and if you guys haven't watched All American on Netflix,
she's late to the party on the All American. She's like, "Where's season 3? I can't wait." I'm like, "It's airing right now on CW."
I didn't know idea, but I literally binged it over the weekend, and it just it shows like what comes behind some of these kids in inner city, what they're also facing beyond just the field versus, kids like Kings. We live near Kings. Our high school is near Kings as well. And it was, a lot of those kids didn't have those problems.
Well, it's just it's like a public school here going to a Bishop Gorman.
Oh, yeah,
or
for sure.
You have that same type of narrative.
We
but
tie it into Vegas too.
Yeah. Tie it into Vegas. I mean, it's pretty much on an everywhere level and scale. And so what he did differently than you ever see in a story is uplift the kids in the school that he's with. They weren't just showing up and playing and practicing and he's yelling and berating. None of that. It was forming a relationship, getting to know them, and they all share.
Well, he wasn't
struggles.
just trying to be a coach to win games. He wanted to help them win in life.
Exactly. There you go.
Like, bam.
That's
hello. Hey, coach, is anybody out there? Like, pick up on something. Anyway. I know you want to get into a little bit about your baseball.
Yeah, but real quick, you guys are tuned in to Girl Chat Sports with Mo and Mel. Just want to remind you of that. Make sure that you guys are following us on all social medias as well as subscribing to our YouTube channel where we're streaming live.
But feel free to share if you're still watching.
Share if you're still watching. Yes.
Yeah.
So now, football.
I thought you were talking about your baseball team.
Oh, well, we can talk about that too.
Because you got that gripe. I mean, everybody already hears everybody knows Seattle lost. Everybody knows Green Bay won. Everybody knows Green Bay's going to
No, we're not going to just skip over because your team is not out of the loop. Now, that's just not fair, okay? I have to sit through it too. But anyway, we'll get into this whole thing with Houston Astros, Los Angeles Dodgers, World Series 2017, I believe it is.
Break it down to me.
So basically, everybody's getting penalized for first of all, even during this past World Series, there was speculation and investigations going on about the Astros team possibly cheating in that World Series against the Dodgers in 2017. And the fact that signs, so for instance, sign stealing, there's signals, there's signs that players and managers do on the field and all that. That's not an issue so much because it's happened all the time.
Right.
It's the fact that they use camera work and technology and then went back and...
I heard iWatch in the conversation.
Yeah, all kinds of digital enhancements to read our plays, read their signals, understand their signals, know what type of pitch Kershaw's going to throw you because of the signal. Like all of that. So MLB, to me, did not really do a severe punishment on the guilty party members.
Gotcha.
They gave them a year suspension. I believe the GM of the Astros as well, or the manager of the Astros as well as guess it is the GM too.
My brother wants their rings taken.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. So instead, the owner of the Astros decides to fire them both. But my thing is, you firing them. The team, Houston Astros, are getting fined $5 million. That's nothing. That's mattress money to them. So the penalties were just not. The penalties were not severe.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Not enough to make a real difference. To keep people from stop doing it. Gotcha.
Exactly. And then the coup de grace of the whole thing too is we had Alex Cora, who was from
that's the link Red Sox. I didn't get.
That's the link. So he was with the Red Sox.
Oh, we got a call.
Call. Holla. Girl Chat Sports. Hello?
Yeah, I know you're talking about baseball right now, but I just need to know who is in the NFC Championship.
Hang up the phone.
Okay, this is Quanson. I love it. We're talking about baseball right now. Go ahead,
give us the score of the Green Bay 49ers game now live on the show.
I'm not going to do it live because I don't want people making money off my Quanstradamus until I actually, trademark that. But 49ers will win.
Hey, I did congratulate you guys in a post, so I've already done my job. That's it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that.
But
Houston Astros need to quit cheating. Baseball needs to quit cheating. That's why I don't watch the sport. It's boring. And then when you get to the playoffs, that's when you want to watch. And then you find out they all cheated. And Dodgers are back-to-back champions. That's all I got to say.
I love you, Quan, for saying that. I love you for saying that. It's all null and void, though. But do you think, honestly, that the parties involved should be banned from baseball? If you're going to ban Pete Rose, do you think they need to be banned for life for working in the league?
I mean, they need to release the ban on Pete Rose.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they
do.
I think that, because you can't just keep banning everyone that cheats because there should be a lot more people banned.
Mm-hmm.
And his was so long ago, and it's really not that big of a deal anymore compared to everything else that's happened.
Absolutely.
They need to release that and do it before he dies because I know what's going to happen. They're going to release it after he dies and put him in the Hall of Fame when he dies.
Yeah,
so
that's not...
Just do it now. Do it while he's alive.
Right. No, I appreciate that.
So,
You're right. You're absolutely
That's
right.
it. Okay.
Thank
me
you,
and Connor are about to order food, so I got to let you guys go.
Oh.
Okay, tell Dana hi for us,
Yeah,
we're at
so
the
Dana
Irish
hi.
pub right now.
Connor
Thank
too.
you.
Okay.
All right.
Must be nice.
All right.
Bye,
49ers win.
Boo. So that was our producer, Quan, who's not in studio today because he's out covering the UFC, which is going to be happening here in Las Vegas, of course, on Saturday. But please, continue on with your baseball.
No, I'm just going to say real quick, and Quan was right. Shout out to him and Unnamed Sports Show because they discussed this too, as well as Let the Ball Bounce. Shout out to those guys. There should be a null and void for the World Series. Like there's no wins. Just count it as a lost year, like a bye year. Bye World Series 2017 or 2018 just didn't happen, and they need to be stripped of their rings. I absolutely agree with that. Even if we don't know if we would have won or not, but just be fair.
No one should have won then. Basically,
no one should have won.
Yeah, I'm with that.
But now it's so funny because I belong to all these Dodgers. So everybody's like, well, who's making shirts that say 2017 World Champions with the Dodgers? Are anybody getting those T-shirts? Or is anybody contacting overseas or whatever?
Dramo.
Right? Shout out to Dramo. Yeah. So and then one person tweeted like, I'm in Houston in full Dodger regalia, walking the streets, my head held high.
That's what
and he says, I'm getting looks and stares. But they're cheaters.
They are.
They're cheaters. If I was in Houston, I'd be wearing Dodger stuff every day.
We're going to have to get Natasha on talk to see how her feelings are about this.
We do. And my cousin Willie, shout out to him. We were tweeting back and forth about it. But yeah.
Wow.
So anyway,
That's intense.
Yeah, it is intense.
It's intense. And then the other thing, my Seahawks lost.
What happened?
I was distraught. I mean, I wasn't like, but I was just like, I could see it coming. I mean, of course. We don't play the first half. I mean, at least we got on the board. We got on the board.
Yeah.
However, we did not. And then we came back with 21 points all of a sudden. And we're waiting for like a last minute, 1 minute drive, 2 minutes left in the game. They got the ball. It's third and I don't know if it was 6 or 7. Jimmy Graham gets the ball. And like this much away from from what we all Seahawks believe was the first down. They call the first down and they keep the ball. And then the clock runs out.
Yeah.
So, we were injury prone. I mean, even they came out today that Bobby Wagner didn't realize until his exit physical that he had knee and ankle problems going on. So all of our players, Jadeveon Clowney might have to, I don't know if he still has to do surgery or not, but everybody has been hurt.
They were hurt playing. They were hurt.
I'm still amazed by Travis Homer and the running back that he is. He did great for us still in that game. And this is our fourth string running back that was playing most downs. Marshawn got 2 touchdowns.
Right.
That was key. But the first half, he couldn't do nothing. It was just tough. It was tough. We couldn't We couldn't cover Devontae Adams to save our lives. That man had like 160 yards.
Yes, he did. He was on my fantasy. And then he was hurt most of my fantasy time, and now you want to ball out like my goodness.
And then their second wide receiver, I got the guy's name, he was hurt for like a quarter or two, and we still couldn't capitalize on being able to cover him.
Right.
It was just like, I don't know. It was just, hey, we got farther than we thought we would.
Yeah.
We did better than we thought we would, especially for all. I mean, we really did. I think when the game ended, people said we had 17 people on the IR list or on the injury list.
That's why I go back to this Russell Wilson MVP thing. Because here's the deal. He had to play twice. You guys had to play the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Twice. And then Baltimore played, 2 games with Cincinnati Bengals or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Your schedule was...
Played the Saints.
The Saints twice. Like, you had... With no line. And
what happened? What did Lamar do this weekend?
Oh, man, he couged it. It was the biggest couged it ever. And people are saying we need to back off of him. No!
And they want to give him all, look at his stats. His stats were padded towards, it really wasn't, they didn't win.
First of all, I blame Harbaugh for the whole thing. Why would you rest your players when they have Pittsburgh next after that? So you gave them a 2-week bye that loses their momentum. And then they cut. Really? That's.
But listen, there is no stopping Derrick Henry.
No. That freight train,
190 some yards, and that's like 3 or 4 games now straight of over 100.
But still, why are you giving 2-week rest? Really? This is football. You only play you play once a week. It's not like basketball where you can sit them down on a load management. What were you thinking?
Load management? Could you imagine in football?
It just messed everything up.
So, anyways, with the Ravens' loss,
yes.
Of course, people say that the MVP vote is casted before the playoffs. However, if it wasn't, what would you think? We both agree it's to be Russell, especially after this last weekend.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about post. I just think within the season to get as far as you guys did with
first half for sure. Yeah. He wasn't there the first half of the season. Anyway, Packers will be at the 49ers Sunday at 3:40.
You said they beat them?
No, they'll be
they beat. Oh, okay.
And then Titans at Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You have a prediction on who's going to Super Bowl?
I think it's going to be the Chiefs, but everybody's telling me to kind of watch out for the Titans. But I think it's going to be the Chiefs.
Well, we know what Quan Stradamus said.
First of all, the Chiefs want revenge from the last AFC situation when it gets the Patriots.
Yeah.
They're ready.
I would like for the Chiefs to win. I would be a Chiefs fan. However, everybody that's still out there.
Fan,
well, no, I'm saying I'll root for the Chiefs.
Right. Gotcha.
However, this Sunday, I lost a bet to Zyler who called in. I lost a bet because he's a Green Bay fan. Yeah. So if you want to check out on Sunday, I'll be doing a live from Girl Chat and probably for my personal in regards to what my bet was and what I lost. Yeah. So anyways, we did our Cougnet moment. That was a big Cougnet moment. That was a huge Cougnet moment. But this dude, can we just real quick? I don't know what's going on with these wide receivers right now. Odell Beckham Jr. cashing out LSU on the sidelines. First of all, and then here's what I think. That
was fake money.
That
was fake money.
That's what the LSU.
I'm not throwing anybody under.
LSU teams say that, okay? Yeah, but then Joe Burrows comes out today or yesterday on a podcast saying, "Well, I'm no longer a student athlete." Yeah, that was real money.
Well,
shout out to Barstools for that interview because that was great.
Barstools catches everything,
man, don't they?
They do. They really.
The other diss dude, your boy AB.
Oh, I figured that was who was going to be the diss dude.
Yeah. Here's the deal: if you can't handle your chick or your baby mama, why keep dealing with the confrontations?
He wants to say so relevant. I swear, I think every week he cooks up a scheme for the following week. How can I still stay in the conversation?
How can I stay relevant?
I cannot dead 2019. I have to keep it going. And you're still under review with the NFL, homeboy.
And we're not.
You're still on watch with them. So what are you really doing out here in these streets?
And we're not going to mention the type of gummies that he had, but he had some like gummies that were of a certain shape that he tossed at the girl and the police.
What the heck is going on in his projects?
Listen, it's mental health awareness.
What is going on?
Want us to be clear. And then before we get out of here, girl power, which we will be addressing next week.
Right.
Is those WNBA games,
I know.
And shout out to Kathy Engelbert, our girl, the commish.
Girl. That waking up to seeing that. Now that was another morning wake up. Man. That was just amazing to see.
Blessed.
Yeah.
Anyways, we had a great time. Thank you again to Masaki to Coach Matt. We appreciate you coming on. Shout out to my girl Mo.
Shout out to Mel.
Shout out to James.
Shout out to James holding it down on the ones and twos.
Holding it down because Quantum Damas is busy and stuff.
So I feel like real quick, I'm going to put this out there. I don't care.
No.
I think if Kansas City does win, Kansas City will take it all.
Okay.
All right. We undid that. That's it.
I'm with it. All right, y'all. Later.
I seriously think San Francisco will beat Green Bay, but I think if it comes down to Kansas City and San Francisco,